How's it going, everyone? This is Hugh Norfolk, the PvP designer, new PvP designer from World v World. And next to me I have Mr.
Tyler Chapman, aka Power in game. I'm the QA embed for PvP.
Alright. Yep, alright, so today we're going to be going over PvP 101. What we're going to be doing is just kind of showing, one, how to get into PvP, how and where all the items and everything, the vendors are, to make it easier for newer players to find stuff, because when you first get in there you have access to a lot of different things, and a lot of people just don't understand and know where to get those things. As well as going over where the test dummies are, how to queue for solo queue, how to queue for team queue, what are those two things, as well as arenas, custom arenas, how to get one, how to join them, how to favorite them, all that good stuff. Pretty much just a general overview of PvP 101. So right now, let's just get started. So the first thing you see here is Power is a level 2.
Yep.
A solid level 2.
We're a level 2 warrior, brand new and fresh. You want to show these guys how to get into PvP?
Yeah. So the biggest thing here is they say what makes our PvP different than other PvP games in MMOs. The first thing is that you can go into PvP right at level 2. So you have to do the tutorial, obviously. So you start the game, create your character, make him look as awesome as you want. Then you go ahead, go through the tutorial, and when you pop out of the tutorial, you can go ahead and hit that the dual swords up there, or is it the which?
Yeah, once you finish your PvE tutorial, you now have the ability to hit these double swords here at the top, which is our PvP menu off the UI, and you will want to hit go to the Heart of the Mists.
So you go to the Heart of the Mist. There is a tutorial in the beginning. If you want to go ahead and jump into the tutorial, just so we can
we can run over to the tutorial. Basically, the first time you hit the Go to the Mist button, it's going to set you in our PvP tutorial map, which is going to give you an area where it's going to teach you how to stomp enemies, res enemies, and basically how our cap points work.
Exactly.
Fend off a point and capture it.
Yep. So this is pretty much the way it starts off. Now, obviously, Power's looking pretty beast because he's been, he's played a lot of PvP. One thing that the reason why I brought Power out here is because one, he's our, he's QA for the PvP team, as well as being, one of the top-rated PvP guys. So I wanted to bring him on here for two reasons. One, top-rated PvP guy, he can give insights to newer players. Being a top PvP guy, maybe give in some really technical things about a lot of the systems we have for newer players who are just getting in, as well as some things that maybe he knows now that maybe he had wished he'd known when he was starting out.
Definitely.
That's why I wanted to bring him on here. So, and I'm here because I just thought it'd be cool.
I'm really excited to be here. Hopefully, I can help out.
Cool.
Get people in some PvP.
That's the point. So, first thing we got over here on the right-hand side is the stomp mechanic. So as you can see, there's a downed enemy. If you hit F or interact with them, you'll start a channel. That channel has about, 3 seconds? About 3 second cast time, 2 second cast time. And then you actually finish the person. So in other PvP games, a lot of times when you take their health bar down to 0, they die. In this game, we actually give you a chance to rally or to fight back when you're down. Yeah. Essentially as a second health bar.
Each class has, they're basically their own unique down state with different types of abilities. Most classes will have one type of defer ability, basically either a CC, a stealth, a teleport. What's that?
Lower that down just a little bit. This one right here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, but each class has a basic downstate abilities. Each one's unique to the class itself, and yeah, it's really interesting. It plays out a little different than your typical Trinity game where when you die, you're dead immediately.
Yeah. So like a good example is like the warrior downed abilities, right? So you get 4 abilities when you go down. The first one for the warrior, and pretty much all classes have just a generic basic damage dealing one. So like your 1 skill is a basic damage dealing. Your 2 skill is some kind of CC or a way to help you survive for a few extra seconds. So the warrior has a hammer. When he uses the hammer, it knocks them down. It gives you a little extra time. And the 3 skill is usually unique to all classes. So the 3 skill for the warrior is called Vengeance. He gets back up and can fight for a short amount of time. And if he actually kills something, he has a chance to rally from actually being downed. And then the 4 skill is across all professions is bandage. It just heals you up.
Yes.
So if you can actually get away far enough, you can actually heal yourself back up to full, bring yourself back up, and without any assistance. And then there's also the rally mechanic, or I'm sorry, the heal. You don't need like a reser to res you when you're down. You just have to run over to your ally and just actually interact with them, and you actually start resing them up slowly. So there's definitely a lot of play when people go down, which is unique to our game. You can, like people like to say, DPS the body, cleave the body, because someone's going to go in there and start trying to res that person. If you put a bunch of DPS on that, that person who's down, you're actually hitting both the targets. So it's really, really, it's really, really good, and it's a really high level tactic.
It's really fun. It's almost like it's a phase in itself in the fight. Normally in normal games, like you only have one phase, the fight phase, and basically it's really just basic, and our game is really dynamic with the downstate abilities because you get into that stage, now you have to think to yourself, am I going to res this person, am I going to stomp this person, do I need to DPS the body? There's tons of different plays you can make in this game, which is really fun.
As well as, you also have to risk reward yourself because you're like, do I have enough life to actually stomp this guy if somebody comes and starts fighting me? Because if I go down and I get stomped, the other guy reses automatically, he rallies.
Exactly.
So rallying is essentially if you have tagged somebody and they completely die, not just go down, but die, then you actually come up, you stand up if you're still in the down state. If you're dead, then you're, nothing happens.
Exactly. You're going to have to make those decisions constantly. You'll see a down teammate, maybe he has like 25% life, but the enemy's in their down state with 25% life, and if you have your damage burst up, you can just DPS that person down, knowing that if your teammate hit that target, he's going to rally and be back up in the fight.
Exactly.
Or anyone that's down in the area who's hit that target's going to rally.
Exactly. Go ahead and just throw over there and just res one of those NPCs. This is part of the tutorial. It's really simple, really easy, but just kind of gives you that quick little overview of how, the unique mechanics of our PvP is. Because obviously, you know about using skills, doing damage, killing people. That's all pretty general across all PvP games. But these are unique things. The downstate, the stomping, capture, well, I guess capture points is kind of not unique to other game types. But rallying, resing, downstate, those are all very...
Do we want to show them the finishers?
Yeah, you know what, let's go ahead and take a chance. This is actually one of the newer things we have, which is really, really cool. Obviously, Power has a lot of them because Power has been playing a long time. I wish I had as many as Power did. Moving away from that. So Power, depending on your rank, you actually get unique stomps. So one of the unique stomps right here is the Shark Stomp. It's for having a really high rank in PvP. Your stomp, instead of going from a flag, you get this really cool stomp to show you how awesome you are in PvP, right? So another thing is, there's MTX ones, so we have really cool ones like my favorite, which is, it's a little nuke that comes down, but it's an 18-bit or 8-bit
Super
nuke.
Explosion.
Yeah, Super Explosion. It's really cool.
That was really cool.
It's really cool.
We can show you that one too.
You have that one? Yeah, we should totally show them that one. That's super fun.
You're gonna have to get out. I'm gonna have to get out of combat real quick. So.
Yeah, so these things you can't actually do when you're in combat. You have to do them when you're out of combat. But moving on, though, there's a bunch of cool stuff here. You can buy them. It's all aesthetic stuff. You don't need them. It doesn't make you any better, any worse. It's just one of those things to be like, I just hit you with that nuke.
Got him.
That 8-bit nuke. Look at that. That's one of my favorites. I love that one. But alright, so we just had a pretty good job of just going off the tutorial. Let's go ahead and get out of here, and let's start showing them the actual PvP lobby.
Right.
So again, in PvP and other PvP games, again, this is what makes our game a little bit more unique. As soon as you hit level 2 and you go into the PvP lobby, you're level 80, you're max level. All stats are kind of, levelized. They're all, there's the same amount of stats for everybody. It's just you can customize your stats. And you have access to all the weapons, all the runes, all the sigils, all that good stuff, all that stuff. But it's kind of just like you got to get thrown in there, and a lot of new players. It's kind of daunting to have access to all that stuff. So if you go ahead and talk to the PvP instructor, he will just kind of give you a quick overview of the actual area. So he says the PvP item vendors are over that way. He goes over and tells you where most other stuff is as well. PvP browser, tournament browser, where you can go fight stuff, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead, Power. Let's run them out. So let's go ahead and go to the. We're going to go straight over to the vendors and what we can actually get there. So one of the big things about PvP, when you have access to everything, we know what's fun, right? It's creating a build, right? So how do we do that? First thing is, let's go to this vendor. What do we got, Power? We
got amulets, basically. There's a little different way characters are spec'd in between sPvP and PvE.
Sure.
In sPvP, we have amulets. In PvE, we have a lot more accessory items, but basically these amulets are more powerful, kind of to make up a little bit of the stats that you get in PvE, but not quite. You're not going to have as high of stats in PvE, but here is
what about your armor? Does your armor have stats?
Your armor does not have stats, but you can get rune sets.
Okay. So it sounds like, the one thing that I think makes it easier for newer players is that they don't have to customize every armor piece and runes and like rings and necklaces. You just got one thing for your stats, essentially.
Sure.
One big piece, which is your amulet. It has all the stats you would usually get from all the other pieces on one spot. But, like you said, there is one other way that you can customize your stats, which is the runes. Sure. But go ahead and just go over just some of the amulets right now, just so people understand what they look like.
Well, Berserker Amulet's going to be basically your high power damage spec. For high burst classes, you're going to be almost like a glass cannon of sort. Not really any defensive stats. You do have a small amount of vitality, but this is really your go-to spec if you want to apply that quick burst damage on targets.
Sure.
On the other hand, if you want to go like a condition damage build, like a dot type build, you're going to look at something like the Rabbit's Amulet or the Settler's Amulet. The Settler's Amulet is going to give you some healing power, so it's going to make your heals stronger.
Sure.
That's based off our healing power stat. while the rabbit amulet's going to give you toughness and condition damage. So primary stat, condition damage for your dots, and then toughness so that you're tankier with precision, which is your crit.
So pretty much what we got here is there's like 3 or 4 different kind of styles. You have your basic DPS, right? Swing with the sword, swing with the hammer, you're doing a lot of damage. You have your dots or your conditions, right? So you have like bleeding, poison, all that good stuff, right? And then you have like healing, so more of the supporty guys. And then you have like the tanky amulets, so you can be like, I can take a bunch of hits and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So then there's also one other piece on this amulet, which is the second bag slot over there to the left-hand side, which is some jewels. Now these jewels, usually you don't want to customize. You like having really base stat, like, you know, keeping everything very similar to what you have, so Berserker Jewel and the Berserker Amulet. But every once in a while, it's really good to customize, right?
Yeah,
So
this does give you the option to customize and kind of like disperse out your stats and basically build the character that you want to be. Like, we give you the options to basically build how you want to play. You can cater it to your play style.
So it's like, I remember, you know, one of the builds that you showed me the other day was when I had a Berserker Amulet, which maybe put a Knight's Rune or the old Knight's Rune, which was now a different. Because that way I got a little tanky, but I still had the base core extra damage.
Like an example I do for my Ellie is I use the Valkyrie amulet because it's a power-based stat, so I'm going to get the burst damage out of it, but it also gives me healing power as well, plus toughness.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at getting better heals. I can have better sustain in fights. But what I do is I put the Berserker's Amulet Jewel on so that I get the 5% crit damage instead of the additional healing power that the Valk Jewel gives me. It's going to give me vitality instead of what the healing power is.
Excellent.
So, that's awesome.
All right. Thank you. So let's go ahead and hop over to the next vendor, which is PvP items, the Armor Smith. So go ahead and so these armors now, pretty much what do these have on there? Do they have anything on there?
They don't have any stats, but they do have 6 slots for runes. So
okay.
There's different combinations of rune sets that we have in our game. We have 2 set bonuses, 4 set bonuses, 6 set bonuses, and then generally on each type of rune set on the 1, 3, and 5 slots we have stat attributes. But that doesn't speak for every single type of amulet. That's just our rune. It's just for a lot of them.
Why don't we just go over the tabs first? That way just people understand. So we have our power runes. What else we got? Precision, which is our crit
basically
chance.
Every stat in the game here we've basically just put on each bag so that people can find their stats or their runes better. A little bit more easy and basic, straightforward.
Sure.
So
I know before it was just a big old pool and you just had to go search through it. But this definitely makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it definitely does. So that's what we're looking at.
Cool. So we really don't need to go over it. Let's just go ahead and take one amulet, one rune set, just so people understand what they look like, and that way we can kind of just show them what it looks like. So let's go ahead and just pick one.
Oh, with Melandra.
So we got Melandra. So you pick up a bunch of them. Go ahead and pull one of those bad boys up, and let's see what we got. So Melandra looks like what? All right, Spearman and Melandra.
You're going to put it in your armor. You'll double click and then drop it on one piece of item.
It'll tell
you can either click upgrade or you can press spacebar to do it a little bit faster.
And also, remember, all this stuff's for free. Again, you have access to all these things. Essentially, we're calling this the core, right? You have access to all the core stuff, which is really strong. So,
and most all of these are like available in PvE, but you're going to obviously have to buy them with money. We give everything for free in our game in PvP, so you can basically get straight into the game and customize your character exactly how you want to kind of find out how you maybe like your character and then take it into PvE and then build that character.
Yeah. Which is really fun. You know, it's definitely fun to grab a build and play it, and you're like, okay, this is actually really cool. I think I'm going to try this in PvE, and then you work towards that in PvE. So, all right, cool. So we got that. Let's go ahead and look at the next one, which is the weapon vendor. So now, weapon vendor again. So look at the stats. Let's go ahead and look at the stats. So they're all level 80 stuff, the top tab. So all these are level 80 stuff. You don't start off with like level 2 or level 3. There's no power curve in this. They're essentially, if I have a great sword and you have a great sword, they're the exact same stats no matter what. The only thing different is their sigils.
And their base damage of the weapons itself is a little bit different as well.
Yes, oh yeah. So obviously a two-handed sword is probably going to do a little more damage than a one-handed sword. But no matter what, if I have a two-handed sword that has like flames and it's got a dude at the end of it who's got a bigger sword and looks really cool, you're like, oh my god, that guy's going to probably be way stronger than me. Actually, no. You know, he's going to have the same. If I have a great sword that looks like a really great sword, I'm actually going to have the same overall base damage as that guy, even though his looks way cooler.
Yeah, these are also just the basic default skins of weapons. You can progressively over time, as you PvP more, get more skins that look cooler cosmetically.
And I think we'll show them that later. We'll show them your awesome locker and show them stuff you have.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's go ahead and check the other tabs. What tabs we got? So we got steady weapons. What are steady weapons? I actually hear a lot of people ask.
So steady weapons are basically test weapons. If you really like theory crafting and doing number crunching, this is the perfect weapon for you. Basically, each time you put on a steady dagger, the spells and damages are going to do the exact numbers on the delve. So you can basically do a bunch of math and basically customize your character however you want.
So it's really good for those guys who really like to get in deep. Like, you know, I want to see that I'm actually getting that 5%. I want to see when I get this power, how much it's increasing from this. You know, so you can really get in there. But for the, you know, with the regular guys, it's just one of those things that really you're not really going to look at that much. But what else we got?
It's definitely something useful I use internally as well for work. So
well, of course.
We got, on this one, it's on basically always on sigils. So you're going to have your percent crit chances, your durations, flat damage increases. We have our on kill sigils, which basically every time you stomp a foe, you're going to get stat attributes. This one's condition damage. This one's power each time. These are going to stack up to 25.
No, is it always on stomp or is it on just on a kill? So I just leave a body.
It's when the person becomes hard dead, like fully defeated.
Okay.
We call it defeated when you're fully dead in our game.
Yes.
Either
so
down or defeated.
Down, defeated. Okay, cool. And so when you get, I won't go back to those one more time. When you actually defeat someone, how many stacks do you get?
You get 5 per kill.
So it's stacks 25, but you get 5 per defeat.
PvP. In PvE, it's 1 stack per kill.
Right.
In PvP, it's 5 per kill.
Cool. So it only takes 5 deaths to get max efficiency out of those things. But if you go down or die, do you lose the stacks?
If you go down to the down state, you lose all your stacks.
Okay, so it's very risk reward. So it's actually really, really powerful. But if you go down, you lose it. So you got to be it's that risk reward.
Yeah, it is.
You got to make sure you stay
These
alive.
are definitely highly utilized. These two are very, very good runes. It's going to give you 250 power, 250 condition damage. That's a lot of damage. It's about 10%.
That's
if
good.
not more.
10%. It's really strong. All right. So what else? What's this next?
This one's on crit.
Okay.
So you're going to have 30% chance on your crit to do. These ones are direct damage. You got life leech. You got AOE. You got bleed. You got inflict vulnerability. A lot of cool things. Cleanse, boons.
Access to almost everything from your weapon.
There's 4 different types of sigils, and it's really interesting.
So why don't you go ahead? I remember one thing that Power told me when we were coming in here is he wanted just to kind of go over just a little bit of high-level stuff on these things. Why don't you just go over that?
One thing that it's not really apparent when you first equip runes is the way runes work with each other and which sigils, rather, not runes, you can put on a weapon set to utilize them. Basically, in our game, there's runes that have internal cooldowns. You'll see these numbers in the parentheses. Any internal cooldown that's on a rune is global, so they're going to share cooldowns. So, for example, what you do not want to do is put 2 on swap sigils on one weapon because they're not going to work together. What you want to do is put what most people do is put 1 on swap and 1 on crit, so that way every time you swap your weapons every 9 seconds or whatever your cooldown is, that's going to work. And then you can also, while during that cooldown, have your on crit proccing.
Okay. Yeah, because I know I've seen a lot of people, especially when I first started out, I put on, I thought, oh man, double swap, I'm going to put 2 different sigils on.
You get
weapons.
battle and energy, you get 3 stacks of might when you swap weapons, and 50% your endurance back. That sounds amazing if they work together, but they actually don't. And it's a common misconception that people can make when they first get into our game, because we don't really demograph it.
That's good. I think that's really good information. So again, newer players, make sure you kind of look at that stuff and keep that in mind when you're trying to customize your character. Okay. I'm
going to pick some here. I'm going to go with battle, and I'm going to buy some fire. I'm basically buying extras because one of the things you can do inside PvP matches is you can switch your loadouts at any time. As long as you're out of combat and not in a tournament match, you can just apply them to your weapons.
It's the same way you do
So I'm taking extras because normally I would have 5 or 10 different types of sigils and runes so that I can cater my spec to what I'm playing against.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I'll be playing something that's condition damage heavy, but maybe I have my burst mastery runes on.
Sure.
So I want to put on some condition defense runes. So I'll put on Melandru. Right now I'm using my Scholar runes, which is going to give me 10% flat damage when I'm above 90%.
Okay. And
this is basically the runes that I'm going to want to use to optimize burst damage.
Sure.
But what I'm probably going to want to do if I see a condition damage team is switch to Melandru runes because it's going to give me additional toughness, a little bit of resistance to stun and condition duration, and then it's going to help me get those conditions off a little bit sooner and not die as fast.
Cool. All right, let's go ahead and go to the locker. Just so we can take a look at some of the weapon skins and, just the way that we handle weapon skins and stuff like that. So like you said, you start off, you get a very basic looking character, but if you go over to your locker and you play PvP, you actually get little chests, and the chests have armor skins. And when you start getting armor skins, you start having a lot of cool stuff, like you see Power has access to all these things. Now, this is all account-bound stuff, right? So Power got this on, I know you played Ellie for a while, so you got all these things for your Ellie while you were playing your Ellie, but you put them in your locker.
Yeah.
And it's really simple to put in your locker. I pull it out and show them how easy. All you do is you open up, and you just right-click, deposit collectible, and now it's in your locker, and then he can just pull that out and pick it out. Now, you only get one, so if he were to put it on his, his warrior, he wouldn't have access to that skin anymore unless he got it again. But you can see he can use any one of those hammer skins he wants. He can, pick it up, use it, put it on any character. He can preview it before he puts it on.
Yeah, we have a little bit different ways of previewing the weapons as well. If you want to see it with it equipped and sheathed, or if it's just the weapon only. Same goes with armor.
Yep. And you can even preview armor that you can't use, but there'll be a little warning message saying that you can't use that on your class. That way you're not like, oh man, you're looking pretty boss like that.
Yes, it looks good.
All right, but so now that we got that, let's go ahead and just show them just a tour of the actual. Well, actually, let's go ahead and show them the vendors. Let's show them the vendors right now, and then
The vendors.
I'm sorry, no, the glory vendors.
Glory vendors. Okay.
Show them the glory vendors a little bit, and then we'll show them.
Yeah, this is what you're going to look for when you're between ranks 1 and 10, and it's going to give you the option to increase your bags, which is really useful because when you start out on a new account like me, you're going to have only a limited amount of slots, and those bags are going to fill up. Bag slots are going to fill up quickly.
Yes.
As you're acquiring boxes from games.
As well as you can actually buy the armor skins out of the actual boxes for glory.
Exactly.
So as you can see now, Power has played the game quite a lot. 900,000 glory. You can buy a lot of chests.
Yep.
But
and then you're going to make sure you're going to have to get the salvage kits. So there's a couple ways you can get salvage kits. One is the monthly achievement. It's going to give you 5 stacks of 15,
Okay.
and then otherwise you're going to have to buy them off this vendor. So.
all right, cool. So the salvage kits help you to just get rid of extras because you're going to fill up in your locker and you're going to have extra stuff.
So basically, once you deposit one of each type of skin, you're no longer going to be able to deposit that anymore in the locker. So what you have to do is salvage them. But the cool thing about salvaging is it breaks it into materials that you can use in the Mystic Forge to create custom recipes and alternate recipes that you can't necessarily make from just getting in boxes.
Sure. So if you want a specific skin,
if you want the rare skins, you're going to have to build them in the Mystic Forge. You can build other things like dyes as well.
Oh, cool.
It's the way to It's the main way to monetize in PvP is you're going to make dyes and then sell them on the auction house.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and just check over and show them where the PvP browser, obviously this guy right here, and see what's our PvP browser. What is this guy?
Basically, this is a guy that is going to give you the list of custom arenas in our game, or hot join matches. Basically, it's a lot like what Counter-Strike is. Active matches that you can join at any time, find the custom match that you want to play. You can search by map, you can look by how many people are in the game, what type of mode it is, if it has spectator enabled, if it has progression enabled, things like that. If it's a locked server, you can set filters so that you have your favorites, recently played. You can set even custom filters to just pick, if you only want to play a certain map, if you want to play maps that lock your gear and skills. What lock gear and skills is once the game starts, you're going to no longer be able to change out your utility skills or your weapons or armors.
And so let's say like I'm a team and I'm really getting into this game. Can I purchase one of these servers?
Yeah, what you can do is buy your own custom arena.
Okay.
And basically, you'll click the Create a Custom Arena from this bottom tab here on the PvP menu, and you'll be able to enter a custom arena name. But what you want to do is you'll click this Buy Get More button, and it'll take you to the gem store where you're going to purchase this value.
Yeah, so you'll purchase something, the starter kit.
Mm-hmm. You purchase the starter kit, and then you got to purchase time tokens. But we give you a free month at the beginning when you buy your first custom arena, so you'll have 30 days to play, and then the time tokens will add an additional day.
Cool, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and start walking around, and then we'll come back to the solo arena tournament stuff like that. So let's say you make your build. All right, you got a cool build, you want to test it out. Where are we going?
We're going over to the test dummies, definitely.
So the test dummies. So these are pretty scattered amongst places. There's moving ones. There's grouped up ones for AoE testing, like you can see back there. There's one moving. You have the indestructible one right there if you want to just test, constant damage, as well as you can test heavy, medium, and light targets. So you can test like squishy guys, tanky guys, and just our average guy.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time over at these dummies, and not only these dummies, but the dueling dummies are useful as well if you want to get into that type of combat and take damage and stuff, and check healing numbers, and as well as rotations and stuff like that.
And you can see here we have some trebs and some cannons set up. So these are actually mechanics, secondary mechanics in some of our maps. So you can actually get a feel for, it's actually called Battle of Kylo, the Kylo treb, and you can we actually put up nice little, sweet little targets for you. Oh, you hit it!
Let's try! No big!
But and then you can come over and test that kind of stuff before actually getting into a match. If you want to get on there, but you're scared somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, you're a noob."
Yeah,
you can actually go here and test it out.
It's definitely something you want to get used to doing because it's a really valuable skill set to have on Battle of Kylo.
All right, so we got over here. We have a Mesmer, we have an Engineer, we got Elementalist.
We have every single class. You got these 4 classes in these boxes, and then the rest are down here down the hill.
Okay, cool. So this actually kind of gives you a feel of actually fighting a real player.
They
Now,
use
obviously
all
it's not as good,
the normal
but-
skills, and yeah.
All right, so why don't you just go ahead and fight one of those bad boys, and just so people can see what it's like, so it's not just like a pushover battle. So you can
He
see.
mowed me. He's using elite skills on me.
So he used the elite skill Moa. He's using skill. He's removed if you had boons there, he would have removed it without one skill. He's got you to 50%. Nice. And so he actually has a down state, so you can test the down state as well. Boom, a little explosion there at the end, and then he respawns for anybody else who wants to test him out. Why don't we go and show them where the boss battle guys are?
Okay.
So we're going to go down here. Go ahead and use M just so people know where we're kind of going. Just so we know. So we started over there in the left-hand corner over there where that first little fist is. So if you actually highlight over that, it's combat training test dummies.
You can teleport here as well.
Straight
for
teleport.
free.
Yeah, again,
On the
everything here is
couple
free.
teleports.
And then you can go, we were over there in the north right there.
We can teleport over the water one. Test some underwater skills if you so desire. We also have underwater dummies.
Yep.
Test those.
Cool.
Not going to get into that, but
Yeah, another time. Another time. But yeah, let's go ahead and just do a quick last overview of just their bosses. So we have certain NPCs in the game that you can go and practice on. So, for instance, one of my favorite maps is Forest, or Forest of Nifl, right? Niflhelm. But there's two boss NPCs that are actually worth points in the match. And they have really scary skills. If you get hit by them, you're going to be taking some damage. Yeah. So if you want to practice before you actually get into a match, this is a place you come to fight the chieftain, and then there's Fanir. Yep. We have a couple people asking, what server are you on?
I'm on Jade Quarry.
But does that matter? I mean, other than...
Servers don't matter for sPvP, but it is also, it's kind of nice to kind of like just talk with people inside the mist and as well. So it does kind of matter to a certain extent, but at the same time, and anyone can PvP with anyone. It doesn't matter what server you're on or what shard you're on, because everyone's merged in sPvP.
Cool. So, you know, the only real thing that matters server is just this lobby, right? You come in here and people of your server are here and you can talk with them. But for the most part, if you wanted to play on server, 1, everyone from every server can play on server 1.
Exactly.
So that's really cool. I think that's definitely something where, like, if I wanted to play my friend or I make a friend like playing in solo arena or custom arena, it's not the fact that I can never play with them ever again. It's like, oh, what server you on? Oh, you don't even know my server.
Yeah,
that's
one
cool.
of the cool new things that you can do as well with our LFG system is search for groups, which is really awesome on the LFG tool.
Excellent.
Which is basically on your friends list, the second tab down. You can basically customize a party setting you're looking for. You can advertise your party, and then it'll give you options to like put a description, what you're looking for, and then anyone that searches on that LFG menu will be able to see who's available and what they're looking for.
Excellent. All right, let's go ahead. I think that's a pretty good overview. So I think now what we're going to do is we're actually going to join a solo queue. Before we join solo queue, though, we should just go over your build and just combo so people understand.
Or we can wait in queue while we do that. How about that?
So let's go ahead and hop over to those dummies. Power was going to play a Mesmer, but I felt like for newer players, we should probably just start with something just a little more simple. So we're going to go ahead and use just the Warrior. He's a hammer longbow. I'll let Power really explain, what combos he's looking for and, exactly why he made the build he did. Again, it's going to be pretty high review. It's not going to be super detailed, but just because I wanted to kind of give a review before we actually get in this. We're going to play a quick match, but go ahead, Power, take it away.
All right, so basically the build is kind of a sturdy body warrior tank that has ranged accessibility. Basically the hammer spec, or the hammer weapon itself is a CC weapon, but it has high base damage, so you don't really have to invest a lot of points offensively to be able to do a lot of damage.
Okay.
So how I'm going to optimize this build is speccing heavy in my defensive tree with the damage trait. There's a damage trait on the 10 Merciless Hammer that's going to increase my hammer damage by 25%. Okay. I'm going to take Cleansing Ire, which is going to be able to allow me to cleanse conditions, and because as a warrior, as a melee, the counter to melee is going to be conditions, and they're going to try to burn you down, slow you down. This is going to allow me to use my burst skills to cleanse myself and keep those off me as much as possible, as well as Dogged March. Basically, any incoming CCs are going to get negated by 33%, which are also going to stack with the rune set that I'm using, Melandru, which is going to give me like 50-60% reduction, which is really awesome. And then the other points I'm going to go into is the discipline tree. Basically, this is going to reduce the charge of my burst skills to like 5-7 seconds, which is going to allow me to use this trait, and it synergizes really well because I'm going to be able to cleanse a lot more. So I'm going to take the burst skill mastery, which is going to give me more damage and cost less as well, so that I can use this skill much more often. Because the base recharge is 9, and normally if you don't take this trait, it's going to use all your adrenaline. And this way, when I use the skill, it's not going to use as much adrenaline.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to take is Vigor when using a stance, because I'm using a triple stance build. Vigor is really useful boon on warriors because it's going to increase your endurance regeneration by 100%. So it's going to allow me to dodge a lot more, which is really useful because I don't have that many I don't have any blocks on with my weapons, so it's really good.
And just so people know, dodge in our game is essentially a mechanic where if you hit a specific skill or you double tap, you actually evade all attacks that are in an area. So if someone were to use like an immobilize or shoot a gun at you, if you dodged, you go Matrix style and that bullet just goes right through you and you don't take any damage. So it's really good, but you got to be very skillful with it because it's much more active. It's not like I throw a block up and for the next 3 seconds.
There's a lot of like cool plays you can make with dodges. Like one of the things I try to do is like you'll look for key abilities that the enemy has and try to dodge those. You know, like immobilizes, big damages, stuns. You want to try to avoid those with your dodge key. And dodge makes you invulnerable to any attack, so anything that is done during that period of time is going to miss, unless it's condition damage ticking on you, because that's going to continue doing so.
And what we got the last one?
The last trait's going to be an unsuspecting foe. This is a really amazing trait when you're taking the weapon like the hammer or maybe the mace, because anytime you stun someone, you're going to have a 50% additional crit for the next for the uptime of the stun, the duration of the stun. What this is going to allow me to do is basically just utilize a full tanky build while still making it do a lot of damage, because I'm going to get a lot of crits out. I'm going to be able to stun lock people and get my damage out while they're stunned, while still being able to build tanky and be sturdy body in PvP.
Okay, so this is what we like to call one of the stronger builds, or one of the meta builds. This is one of the stronger builds because of that, because it's got a little bit of everything, and in the hands of a good player, it's very effective.
And there's different renditions of the build that you can go. Like
I actually don't go 10 into arms personally. I always go 10 into strength.
Yeah, there's tons of traits that are really good for the warrior. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go. Like a lot of people don't take this trait; they'll take the signet recharge.
I usually go signet recharge. Yep.
So it's arguable.
It's very interesting.
It really depends how you want to play it.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I play this warrior and I play him relatively the same, but I change up a few little things and I don't run the three stances. I run with signets instead.
Cool.
And that's just the way I do it. I run with one extra signet, and then I don't run with the heal signet. I run with healing surge so I can get full adrenaline right at the beginning of the match, so I can start out strong.
Cool.
It's different. It's very interesting how the builds are always, just the same, but slightly tweaked for your playstyle.
There's cool things you can take advantage of, like the healing adrenaline heal. That's going to allow you to put out a lot of the burst skills, So if you take like a mace or a greatsword, you can have a lot of uptime on the stuns, on the immobilizes from the sword, things like that. A lot of different play.
Yep. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and just go over just like a regular, combo that you would do on a player, and or what am I looking for if I pick up this build? I'm like, you know what, I really like this build. I want to check it out. What do I look for?
Okay. Like rotation wise, or
sure. Like let's say you're going to go into a fight and you're like, I need to land this to win this fight.
Okay. What you're first going to want to do is put up your elite if you're using the signet, because it's going to give you 5 stacks of might, going to give you some swiftness. I generally start with the 2 and longbow because it's going to put burn up and then hit them followed up with a pin down, which will mobilize them. But the reason I use the burn first is because if they want to cleanse their immobilize, it's going to cleanse the burn first. So you're kind of blocking the immobilize with additional conditions. You get the burn here and you get the bleed, which is before the immobilize on pin down. So I'll start with the 2. You hit them with the 5. Then when they're in the 5, your burst skill on the longbow is your 3 skill, the arcing arrow. I'll blast them with that and then typically put down my fire combo field right after that. One of the cool tricks with warrior is you can cast that longbow burst 1 skill. You can immediately switch to your hammer and use the burst skill again during that same time and utilize kind of like your blast finishing. This is a blast finisher. It's putting down a combo field fire from the longbow, and you're going to get 3 stacks of might from that, as well as AoE CC and do a lot of AoE damage.
So one of the high-level things that people don't know about in our game as well is there's combo fields and combo finishers. Combo fields are essentially you put down a field. It could be a fire, a water, smoke. It could be anything. And then you have combo finishers like shooting through. Like if you have a fire field and I shoot through it, my bolts are going to be on fire, and they'll burn the target. Or I have a chance to burn the target.
There's 9 combo fields in our game. A lot of different things. You know, you got your water, your fire, your water one, blast finishers. There's different types of finishers. There's blast finishers, leap finishers, projectile finishers, and each finisher does a different effect in each combo field. So if you're doing like a leap finisher through a smoke field, it's going to daze the target. If you do a blast finisher in a smoke field, it's going to AoE stealth. If you're blast finishing in a fire field, it's going to give you 3 stacks of might to everyone around you. If you're blast finishing in a water field, it's going to give you AoE heal.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this map. So we got this map, it's called Battle Kylo. This is the one we were talking about with the trap. Go ahead and hit M for me. So we're going to see there's 3 points. There's the windmill, there's mansion, and then there's clock tower. The point of this is conquest, so you got to capture the points. When you capture the points, every second you get a point. First one to 500 points wins. So there's a possibility of, getting 3 points. If you get 3 cap, you get 3 points a second. First one to 500 wins. If you stomp and defeat somebody, if you defeat someone, it's 5 points for your team. And then there's the treb, and the treb is the secondary mechanic. It essentially does a ton of damage, knocks down. It is dodgeable and blockable, but if you get hit by it, it does a ton of damage.
Yeah, and it does a small little knockback.
Okay, so Power actually talked to his group, and he was telling them he was getting some communicating. He's saying he was going to go mid.
Yeah.
One person home. Well, what is home? Home is the closest
Home,
point to you.
yeah. Oftentimes what people do in our game is call the points by either home or near, far, or whatever by their. You could call them by their names itself, but a lot of people use far or home or close.
Usually I usually hear home and far.
Yeah.
It's
just quicker. It registers in people's minds a little bit faster. So basically I told my team 4 mid, 1 home. Hopefully we can get a good split and get some early communication out as a team so we can work together.
All right, so
because this does look like a tough match here.
So what do we... Oh, treb shot there. Treb shot on your side, but it looks like there's somebody on the treb, and there was 2 at their home at far. So we got a guy here. It's another warrior. He popped
he has stability up, so what I can do is... I'm not going to use my stun CCs because it's going to negate any type of that CC, but what I can do is still immobilize him.
Those treb shots...
Yeah, I gotta keep watching those. I need some game sounds.
Yeah, the other thing is we don't have game sounds, so Power's at a little disadvantage here, but you know what? It's all right. Nice dodge. Okay, so looks we got 1 point. So we are blue team. We got 2 guys here. Treb shot coming in. Nice dodge. Popped his elite again. So right now, Power is the super. He's the tankier guy, but he's trying to keep these guys who what we call bunkers. Essentially, this warrior's bunkering mid. He's trying to just keep that point for his team, and then stay there for as long as he can to keep points up. So red team captured clock tower. Looks like they're bringing in quite a few people now. We got 2. We got our ranger, a warrior, one other guy here. Looks like this warrior has Endure Pain popped. Might be going down. Nice stealth.
We really need to get to the... Someone needs to stop that treb.
So the treb is really strong. Again, remember, it knocks people down. It does a ton of damage. So what he's trying to do now is just trying to get to this person who's trying to neutralize this point. So the points have, active and then neutralize. Beautiful save there. Beautiful save. So they have neutralized points, and then you also have capture for either team. So if he would have neutralized that, blue team would not be accruing any points at all. So Power would try to get there. He actually got there right at the last second.
Yeah, it's like a 5-second decap, and it takes about 11 seconds to full cap a point.
Okay, so it's good. So looks like I don't see people. Looks like you got a couple people mid. Got one of his allies is down. Somebody's still on that trap.
Yep.
Power with a nice team revive there. Hit him with the pin down. Going with the combo. He put his shield. He actually put Endure Pain up. Nice dodge. Very active combat. Very active. Another treb shot coming in. Beautiful dodge.
I'm gonna have to get out of here.
Yeah, looks like your team's kind of gotten.
I don't think I can though.
Oh, you got a lot of conditions on you. Ooh, beautiful heal. Got a Mesmer chasing you. Nice, mobilized there. Beautiful. And you got out.
Yeah, I also use my burst skill to cleanse me right there as well.
Nice, so your point did get neutralized, it seems.
I can maybe get a decap here, but I'm gonna have to land a CC on this guy, so I'm not gonna have enough time.
You got 2 guys coming here, so 2 on this point.
Didn't get it.
No, that's okay. I mean, you're pulling 2 people off the point. So what we're seeing here is Power drew off 2 people from this point, so they actually had to transition. But because they transitioned, hopefully his team can get some points right now. Right now, they are getting 3 cap. They're not looking too hot right now, but you know.
Looks like our team killed the guy at Treb though.
Okay, good.
But they did have to take 2. They took 2 resources to go kill the guy, so we're probably going to take a huge hit on the score here because we don't have people on the map. We really need to get some points and at least have 2 for a long time before we can come back here.
All right, so we respawned. Where are we going? So we probably go...
I'm not going to go home because it looks like... I'm looking at the map here, and it looks like our team has the fight. There was a little red downed icon, which means an enemy player is down. You can also look here on the right side of the screen. It's going to show you the kill spam. And basically, you just do assessment of your UI here on the top left. And you can also hover over people's icons on the minimap, and it'll say who it is. That way you can find a player on the map and then look at their HP. You can even look for conditions and boons. That'll tell you if they're in combat or not. If it's empty, they're probably not in combat. If it's not empty, then they're probably fighting.
All right, so we got this guy. He's got all of his ranger pets
I'm going to
up.
put on Berserker stance so he can't get conditions on me. Try to get an immobilize here so that I can get a decap, but it's not going to be enough. I'm going to try to bait him to fighting me on the side of the point so I can get a knockdown. All right, and then a knockback off the point, and hopefully I get a stun lock and I can get the newt here.
Beautiful newt right there. Beautiful. So now he neutralized that point, and they're going to have to bring some more resources here.
Yeah, I also see that he has his wolf pet out, so what I know based on that is that what that pet's skill abilities does. It has a knockdown and it has a fear. So I put up my balance stance when he switched to that to make sure that I didn't get hit by any CCs.
Beautiful. Beautiful stun lock. All that extra crit damage, crit chance, because we saw that from your build. We got 3 newts right now. People are fighting. You can see you got this guy. If you can get...
I'm going to hit him with an immob and then burst him.
See, right there, that immobilize is critical. Right there. Now he's down. You got the stomp. The only thing
he's going to interrupt me here because I don't have anything, but he opted to not. He opted the quick respawn, which is a good thing to do sometimes. It's a lot of situational play to using your down state abilities. Like, if there's no reason to survive for much longer in your down state, like say you're attacking a point and the enemy has it but they kill you and they still have it full capped, there's no reason to delay the stomp because you haven't capped the point, you haven't neutralized it, you're not earning anything that's positive for your team. Might as well try to die as fast as possible.
Yeah, I can see it. So Power kind of looked at the base, make sure that the other guy wasn't kind of just
we do have this. I'm going to wait until this guy respawns and make sure he doesn't come back to this point. If he does, then I'm going to fight. One of the good vantage points here, once you do take the windmill, is you can stand on this roof and get good map vision. That way you can check these. These are the 2 doors that the players can come out. You can check those, and then you can pan mid and kind of like assess the battle. A lot of the downtime when you're playing a role like this is basically doing things that help you assess the battle and find out where you need to be as a roamer. That way you can provide the most benefit to your team. So I'm going to start here with my longbow against this ranger. Probably try to get the burn off and the immobilize, but he did get a nice dodge. I'm going to try to stand on the middle of the point here and spam someone to get full adrenaline, because I'm going to want to put down this fire field so that I can kill all his little minions. I'm using my balance stance to negate that knockdown. He is fighting off the point here, but I should be able to cleave down his minions here with that burst. See if I can land and immobilize. I'm going to put up Endure Pain just in case. See if I can chain his sun and switch to the...
We're taking some damage.
Yep, I'm switching to balance stance.
Okay. Nice burn there. He's going to be running... Oh, that might be it right there. That immobilized...
Ooh, that was a good dodge.
So he used the skill that actually gave him evasion. Even though he was immobilized, you still can use skills. So he actually used the skill that would give it, so he actually was able to dodge that stun. That stun would have been it right there for him. That would have been a big stun. Ooh, nice again. That might be it for him. Oh, good evasions on his part. Oh, wow, this guy's doing really well. Oh, nice. Got him with the range from the 1 skill. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So
go ahead and let myself regen a bit.
Yeah, so this is the reason why he didn't want to go in there right now, because that pet is still up, still kind of laying into him. But, oh,
ooh,
no.
This is not good, because this pet's going to res him now.
Yep.
Try to get a CC off the pet. Nope, out of range. That's not good. I'm going to have to vengeance stomp him. I don't know if I have time.
Oh, wow, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I mean, that was a good play. They did a really, really good play there. Oh, he missed it.
Vengeance ran out.
So when the Vengeance runs out, he does die and goes straight to defeat. And when he goes straight to defeat, the other person rallied. Yeah, that was good. That was good. I mean, you played that really well. I mean, he got beautiful, good dodges, and that Treb saved him. It was good on their team's part.
I made a big goof there, though, by not paying attention to the Treb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we don't have game sounds right here, so I know, because usually when the Treb is fired at you, you get an audio warning.
Yeah.
The Treb is coming, or, you know,
Yeah, it normally gives you like an incoming type audio
sound. So you know how you a couple seconds before
That's
that.
Right. No excuses.
So we did say, oh, you were down a person. Whatever. You suck.
Yeah.
But yeah. But we just wanted to give you guys just a fun little overview of just playing some Warrior, getting a build, showing how effective, you know, obviously, I mean, you played really well. That person played really well as well. Obviously,
the enemy team played really well as well.
Yeah. So that was good. I mean, I definitely say, you know, it was very fun. It's always fun to watch, always fun to play. Yeah.
Definitely, that battle showed that the secondary mechanics are very strong.
Yeah. I mean, you had it. You had that stomp, and unfortunately, it took you out. But, you know, so, I mean, I really appreciate you coming out and helping me with this, Mr. Power. I hope that was pretty good information. And again, it's kind of simple, but it's a little daunting because there's a lot of stuff at Access. When you come into PvP, you have access to everything. Yeah. And, you know, in a lot of games, you have to work up to that. So it's a little bit of barrier of entry at first. Yeah. And once you get in there and you start messing around, you know, you can go and you know.
It can be a lot to take in at first, but it's really fun, and I really highly suggest you guys try out some PvP. You know, send me a message in game if you want, and I'll play with you, and maybe show you some tips if you have any questions. You can play around.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, so let's just say this. Usually when you first start out, you just want to go in, show them the PvP, and you just hit play now. So usually what you do is you just hit play now, and that'll just take you into a game right away. You can start off. Usually it's a little bit bigger, a little bit not as formal, right? You just get into AV8. Have some fun, play a build, see how you like it, and then as you play it and you feel, you know, you feel like your skill has gone up, you go ahead and do solo queue. You play solo queue. It's 5-on-5, more structured towards tournament play. Yeah,
and even if you don't want to make a build, we'll have a starter build basically. Each class we have a starter build, a default build that basically we jump you in with is a build that's generally pretty tanky, but it survives a little bit for itself. There's better ones than others, but definitely wanted to get you in with a build that can do something effectively.
Yeah, yeah. And then, like, if you get a group of 4 other friends and yourself, you can go ahead and do team queue. You guys can go and play against other teams and stuff like that. There's a lot of levels, right? You can play. You can
we try to cater to a lot of different types of players. You know, you can, if you play by yourself, you can do solo arena. If you want to play with friends, you do team arena. If you just want to get in there, goof around for a little bit, you don't have much time, you can play hot join or custom arenas or do your daily there.
Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, any questions or anything, like you said, you can always message, you know, Power or myself in game. Obviously, you know, we always are on the forums trying to make sure we talk to everybody. Make sure you guys, you follow the channel here for any other updates of PvP, World v World, PvP, any of that stuff. Make sure you follow the channel. And, you know, hopefully we'll be back soon and go over more maps and maybe a little bit more higher overview of some other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, also make sure on Monday, Mr. Carl, believe in Carl, Mr. Roy are going to be going over the new upcoming skill balance stuff. That's going to be on Monday at noon. And
there's also a good PvP stream to check out is Guild Wars 2 PvP TV.
Okay.
If basically they run almost a 24-hour stream of top players in PvP, and basically it's a really helpful and influential stream that's really helping out the player base. And they're good. They're all good guys on there. There's like 20 guys that stream on there. Very high-level players, can answer any of your questions and really help you, you know, develop as a PvP player in our game.
Excellent. So yeah, guys. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna see. I got a couple questions over here. One of the things: can you reset traits in PvP? Yeah. So when you're actually creating your build, you have access when you open up your hero tab to respec your traits in PvP. Now, mind you, that's your PvP traits, not your PvE traits. So you can't go to PvE, you know, get your traits, then go to PvP, reset them, then go back to PvE and have reset traits.
Right.
It's just your PvP traits. But yeah, it's completely free to reset your traits. Completely free to get the gear, completely free to get the sigils, completely free to get the runes. Everything, you know, your skills are all unlocked. Your core skills are all unlocked. You know, that's pretty much. That's what makes PvP fun. It's the fact that you just get access to everything.
Yeah, you can respec at any time, and it's really nice. You can't technically respec inside a match, but you just basically step outside of the match back to the mists, and there should be a button right here at the top, which will give you all 70 points back.
Somebody also put, in PvP, you're either a warrior bruiser or area effect mage. Everything else gets owned. What other builds have you played, Power, that you feel are really effective right now?
A warrior bruiser or area effect mage. There's, you know, you got your sword dagger thief, which is going to be a really high mobility burst type class that's stealing a lot of boons. I've been effective on my dagger Ellie, which is kind of like a more support type playstyle with auras, doing a lot of stun locking. You got bunker guardians, which is really vital to the team. You're going to be able to have area denial, but at the same time, you're really the master of the res stomp phase, keeping your teammates alive during the match. You know, doing a lot of condition cleansing, keeping people alive. And controlling the enemy. Other than that, you got Mesmer, which is kind of your master of, you know, illusions and distractions, and they have a lot of burst, they have a lot of utility. There's pretty much every single class in our game is viable to an extent, even more to an extent. Each class is strong. There's a way you can build each class and play to your own role or play style and be effective in PvP.
I think it all comes down to your playstyle, and as well as when you start making teams. Like, if you actually want to be really effective at certain class, sometimes you have to build a team around it. I know, like, you know, in one of the last MLGs we saw that people were saying that Mesmer wasn't very good, and Mesmer won on the team.
Yeah.
He played extremely mobile.
I mean, skill can really account for a lot. Like, you can overcome hard counters and things like that people perceive as weaknesses to things with just skill. By playing well, playing dedicated, being organized as a team, having proper teamwork, and making the plays. Basically, that's what it comes down to in PvP. That's what I really like doing. So.
Excellent. Well, again, I really thank you, Power, for coming out with us.
Yeah, it's been really great. I appreciate being on here.
Cool.
Hopefully I can provide some good information. Be back again.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate Miss Ruby getting the questions for us and letting us come on here. But all right, guys, I think we're going to sign out here. Again, this is Hugh Norfolk from the PvP team.
I'm Tyler Chapman, QA for PvP.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.